You think your words are free? You think they cost nothing because nobody's bleeding when you say them? No mark left on the skin, no bruise to point at. So you let them out of your mouth like spare change, like they were lying around and you might as well spend them. I'm here to send you the bill. Stupid. Only the truly stupid use the word stupid so casually. Say it again if you want. Every time it leaves your mouth, it's doing free advertising for the exact same thing you're accusing someone else of being. You didn't find a clever insult. You found a mirror and forgot to look in it. Slow. Slow doesn't mean what your half-functioning brain has been trained to mean. Most, quote, slow folks end up with the right answer. They just don't perform urgency for your comfort. You mistake speed for intelligence because speed is the only metric you're capable of fucking measuring. Now let's go further back than you're comfortable going. Dumb used to mean one thing, and one thing alone. Couldn't speak. You didn't invent a clever insult when you call someone dumb. You found a new way to mock the mute. And you did it without even knowing that's what you were doing, which tells you something about how deep this goes. Idiot. 100 years ago, that was a clinical classification. A diagnosis written on a chart used to sort which children got which kind of education, which adults got which kind of, quote, care. You didn't graduate past that history. You just picked the diagnosis back up and used it as a punchline for someone who you cut off in traffic. Moron. Same file cabinet, same doctors, same era, same intent, sorting human beings by how disabled they were in a system that thought sorting people that way was science. You use it to describe a coworker's email. Imbecile. Idiot, imbecile, moron. That's not 3 insults. That's a 1910s scale. A measuring stick for how disabled a person was. And by the way, as far as the disability, I'm only an idiot. A measuring top to bottom with a number attached to each rung. You picked it up off the floor of a discarded eugenics program and put it back into casual rotation like it was new. Cretin. This one comes from cretinism, a real congenital condition, a thyroid disorder that affected real children's development. You're not being clever when you say it. You're diagnosing a stranger on the internet with a medical condition because they disagreed with you about something that won't matter in a fucking week. The short bus, and that's not a joke about a vehicle. It's a joke about who rode on it and why and what everyone else got to assume about them from a distance. By the way, that motherfucker has AC. Say the quiet part if you're going to say it at all. At least you have the spine to mean what you're actually saying. That's the cognitive ones. You thought I was done because I'm far from close. Crazy, one that's been pinned on me a lot. Short for I don't want to sit with why this person is the way they are, so I'll make it their fault instead of their condition. That's not an observation. That's a refusal dressed up as one. Insane. You reach for it the second something exceeds your patience for nuance. The word isn't doing what you think it's doing. It's not describing them. It's confessing the limit of your own attention span, you squirrel. Psycho. Borrowed from people in active crisis. Real crisis, the kind that hospitalizes, to describe someone who texted you twice in one night. You flattened a diagnosis into a dating app review. That sickens me personally. Lunatic. Built on a theory that the moon made people lose their minds. Doctors abandoned that theory centuries ago because it was wrong. You're not insulting someone's behavior when you say it. You're reviving a debunked medical theory because it sounds spicier than "I don't understand this person." And understanding this person is way more important than you might think. Deranged, unhinged. The vocabulary of an asylum intake form repurposed for someone's bad take on a website that's going to be relevant in 5 years. Or someone seeing me on YouTube. Oh no, unhinged is actually quite violent. What I do is make noise. So OCD, someone somewhere is living with an actual fucking diagnosis, intrusive thoughts they didn't ask for, rituals they can't stop, a level of suffering you never have once had to sit inside. And you just used it as a synonym for, "I like my desk tidy." So bipolar, same move. A real often debilitating condition flatlined into a punchline about someone's mood swinging twice in one conversation. You didn't make a joke. You made their illness smaller so your complaint could feel bigger. Or maybe you just don't understand the nuance when a person's speaking because of all the psychosomatics you're on. Schizo, clipped down from a serious diagnosis, multiple personality disorder, anyone, into a slur so casual you don't even register you're doing anymore. That's not progress, that's just erosion you stop noticing. And yeah, I've been accused of schizophrenia before because I posted a video pissed off one day and a video happy the next. Same personality. You still with me? Good, because this last category is the one you'll defend the hardest, and I want you uncomfortable and in fact pissing yourself before we get there. Lame used to mean cannot walk without difficulty. Now it means this thing was boring. You traded a person's mobility for your mild disappointment in a movie. Spastic, lifted directly from cerebral palsy. You're not describing someone being clumsy. You're describing someone else's nervous system, somebody else's body doing something it can't help but do. And you turned it into a punchline about a guy who dropped his phone. Crippled. Still used as a verb for ruined, the team got crippled in the third quarter, a disability as a metaphor for failure. Ask yourself what that says about what you think disability means. Gimp. Same root, same disregard. You didn't even pick a new word, you just picked the ugliest available shorthand for the same thing. Midget. Already widely recognized slur for people with dwarfism, already not eventually, not someday. And it still gets used like it's a neutral descriptor for small. It isn't, and it never was. You knew that before I said it, and you used it anyway. And lastly, special, when said with a sneer. Borrowed wholesale from the special education and weaponized as sarcasm. The sneer is the whole point. You didn't accidentally land on the word. You reached for it because of exactly what it implies. So here's the bill. Every word on this list started somewhere specific, not in slang, not in jokes, in clinics and diagnoses, in classrooms that sorted children by ability and medical theories that were wrong but still got to define people for a century. You didn't invent a single one of those as a casual insult. Oh, no, you didn't. You inherited them from systems that used them to decide who counted as fully human, and you kept spending them like they cost nothing. They cost something. They just never cost you anything, because you were never the one being diagnosed, sorted, institutionalized, or left behind by the slow bus everyone else got. You got to use the words. Somebody else had to live inside what the words meant. That's the whole sermon. Not that you said a bad word, but that you reached into someone else's diagnosis to make your own sentence sound sharper and called it nothing. It was never nothing. It was rent, and you never once paid it.